Welcome everybody. Ryan Wright here with Clint Cosgrove. Clint, how you doing today?
I couldn't be better. Another signing day, another exciting day, another day of the future of college football. So there's been a few big, flips already, and I'm sure we're going to see more as the day goes on. But it's a new age in college football, and I'm just excited to be a part of this show today, man.
Yeah, so I'm at Stars Complex in Fort Myers where we will see Winston Watkins commitment live. We have some great hosts for you today. We're going to try to cover as much of the country as possible. We're going into SEC country. We're going with Texas and Big 12 country, and then wherever Winston may go. Before we get going, Clint, I know you have some thoughts on the class as it's going right now. The team rankings, there's a lot going on. What do you think?
Well, before we get started, just make sure everybody refreshes your browsers to get the latest viewing experience. But now to that point, it's not surprising you got a lot of the blue bloods at the top. Texas making moves. Obviously, they've got a killer class. You got big NIL money and you got a big talent pool, and that's a good combination. You know what? In the past, we haven't always seen that work out the greatest as far as team chemistry goes, but it looks like they're doing it pretty well down there. We'll have a guest, a Texas guest, a little later, I believe. Ohio State, as always, they're loaded at wide receiver, so a little surprised that Tavian St. Clair, who some argue is the best quarterback in the country, that's up for debate, obviously. Heading there, they signed more receivers today. I don't know how they keep on, bringing them in, pushing them to the NFL and getting more. Carter Lowe, offensive lineman, running back athlete, Bo Jackson. Georgia, absolutely loaded again. There's a reason half the NFL seems like they played for the Bulldogs. I remember a game a couple weeks ago. There was like a team that had 9 sacks or 8 sacks in the game, and I think 6 were by Georgia players. A couple kids I'm really familiar with from the Midwest, quarterback Ryan Montgomery, who unfortunately had to sit this year out with an injury, and then wide receiver Talon Taylor, who is a difference maker. I think he can be a future first-round draft pick. Another thing that really stands out to me, and I don't know what you think about this, Ryan, and they kind of did this last year, but Auburn's ability to really put together the class that they did coming off a rough season. And, before I go any farther, I'd just like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, if you look, they own the state. So if you look at the top 10 players, again, the different ranking perspectives, we'll take that into consideration. But Ohio State and Auburn effectively controlled that state. But it also kind of, in a way, speaks to how well Alabama is recruiting because they still have a top tier class in the recruiting in the country. So we'll see with Auburn if that continues that way, that trend. I understand last year when you have the new coach coming in, Saban's gone, what's going on. As all things kind of stand after the college football rankings committee came out, looks like Alabama may be kind of getting a mulligan to get in here. So they'll be in the playoffs and they have a chance to show that they belong there, which will help with recruiting as a big thing. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, those are two titans in the SEC going head to head. I am one of those old school guys that I think that you have to win your state by and large to stay competitive in college football. So we'll see how the Alabama staff kind of maybe changes, pardon the pun, the tide on that going forward. But yeah, Auburn, all hats off. They closed strong last year, and they did a great job. So yeah, that's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, and they did that despite losing Nathaniel Marshall last second, who had flipped originally from Michigan to Auburn. Bryce Underwood comes into the house in Michigan. That changes things. Obviously, an attractive, player to play with. And I know he recruited his butt off, and they flipped him back from Auburn. So Nathaniel Marshall, big-time talent on the defensive line. He lines up at receiver at 260 pounds. He is special. So despite even losing him, highly ranked class, Oregon is one that really stands out to me because they're light on numbers, but heavy on talent. And, the light on numbers make sense because they're not afraid to hit the portal. They're going to find immediate players of impact, but they got immediate players of impact from the high school ranks this year. Dakarian Moore, he's a game breaker receiver. Achilles Smith Jr. We got legacies coming in. Dorian Brews, a kid who was originally from Ohio, moved down to Texas. He was a receiver when he was younger. He's a big DB. Dier Hill out of Illinois. You're seeing them get into the Midwest as they're in this the Big Ten landscape and recruiting like they are. And then they also pulled an Ohio State legacy out of Ohio in Trey McNutt, the safety. And so he's a big time player as well. I know not everybody is signed yet. Hopefully all those guys have that I mentioned. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting day. There's been some flips. Like I said, it's going to continue to go. Some guys announcing that they're announcing later. So I don't know if that's really an announcement. Yeah, a lot of talented players this year. I think there's a lot of guys that are kind of falling through the cracks and maybe a little underrated, but this is going to be an interesting class to follow, especially with the way the transfer portal and everything like that is. Sometimes I feel like these kids signing out of high school, it's almost like a placeholder for a year. It's speed dating, I believe a basketball coach said recently. You find out if you like it or not, and you move on if you don't. So, but yeah, big things to come from this class, and I'm excited, to talk to some of these guys in a bit.
Yeah, well, sticking with Oregon, Dallas Wilson, big time receiver commit out of the Tampa area, and they got a really big one in Gavin Nix, a flip from Miami. Great linebacker at IMG. I've seen both of those guys quite a bit. Very talented guys. Yeah, so it's really exciting. If we can, we need to get our first guest on. Hopefully, he's on here with us. If Richard Davenport, if we can get him, Richard knows the SEC, certainly the Arkansas Razorbacks, and can talk a little bit about that group. I know they've done a pretty good job. The Razorbacks have of recruiting. I think there's a lot of speculation with Coach Sam Pittman, what he may do. I don't even know if we want to address any of the rumors, but there are some rumors going around that he could potentially step down. And then you have the former DC, former Missouri head coach, kind of maybe in the waiting in Odom. So we'll see what that happens. I think Petrino, if I remember correctly, so much has happened, but was maybe a consideration for the Charlotte job. But maybe they keep him as the OC. I don't know how Odom and that goes. But Odom is a heck of a coach. He's done a great job at UNLV. If that happens, we'll see. That could really help Arkansas. In the portal. They did not really close strong within their own state this year, going back to what we talked about with Alabama. So it's going to be interesting. The Hogs have to win their state. And I know their guys are typically kind of under recruited, under promoted, so they can have some good guys there. But anyway, so we'll see what happens with their. Any of the guests that want to chime in, you have to, if you will, please click the raise your hand button so we know you're there and we can take your questions and bring you on. But yeah, the Hogs are kind of that. We almost won team this year, and I think they're really close. They're missing a few key guys. Hopefully they can hit the portal hard and have some really good opportunities coming up. But yeah, they gave one away against Missouri this last weekend, leading late. So that stuff just kills when it comes to the early signing period, National Signing Day.
Well, especially from a former rec yourself.
Yeah, I know a little bit too much more than I should about that. But I need to not go on and on about it. But I keep dropping my earpiece. But anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on. One thing, going back to the overall landscape of the SEC and Big Ten, they are just absolutely dominating the 2025 class. 7 of the top 10 teams are SEC squads, which is astounding. 3 of them are Big Ten teams. You get right outside going into the next 10 to 20, and it's a few more SEC, a few more Big Ten. Then I think there's only maybe like 3 ACC squads that are in there. Some of them may change the ACC squads, kind of going into the portal a little bit more. I know we've kind of talked about Clemson and maybe their approach. Do you think that there might be something different for Dabo Swinney and the Tigers this year?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at the number of commits they had going in today, typically they've been I don't want to say a developmental program because they're getting big time players year in and year out, but they're developing those guys, and he's been pretty staunch. I don't want to say opponent of the transfer portal, but they wanted to win with guys that they're bringing in from the high school level. He's a big team chemistry guy. But at the same time, the landscape has changed, and I think we might see Clemson do a little dipping in the portal, do a little dancing there this year because, he's got a lot of pressure to win down there. And, they really pulled the team together and, put together a respectable year after a scary start, I think. But that is a testament to having a team that is close knit, not a bunch of transfer guys, because, sometimes when you got a bunch of guys coming in playing for themselves, things if the wheels fall off at the beginning, they fall off quickly, and sometimes you can't put them back on. So I think you do have to have a mix. You don't want to live in the portal. It almost seems like teams are living in the portal nowadays. But first and foremost, you got to have a good high school recruiting base to build off of. Part of the hard part now is you're trying to recruit your own roster to stay, and that is another big issue. So chicken egg, I don't know what's coming first, what leads to what. There's so many different theories, there's so many changes. It's really the Wild West. There's a lot of unknowns. I mean, having a signing day while season's still going, while some of these kids are still playing, is crazy in itself. And then you go into the portal next week. So uncharted landscape, interesting to see how it all turns out. But I think college football's in for some interesting years in the coming seasons.
Yeah, the thing for me is, if I was putting my money, if I had the Brinks truck and I had a program, I'm going to back that truck up for my offensive lineman. You need a quarterback to win, but I would keep my guys there. You can't get victories on the field, in my opinion, unless you have a cohesive offensive line that has been together, lockstep, know what each other is doing on each play. See a lot of hesitancy with these guys this year. Some sloppy play, especially early on, with guys maybe a little nervous, offsides calls, stuff like that. But it's going to be interesting when guys go in. Just see how the different teams attack stuff, and hopefully when we talk about the Big 12 later, because I think that's one of the conferences that has kind of taken that approach to backing off and maybe just signing 15, 16 guys that they believe can come in instead of going to the full tilt, which is what the SEC programs, most of them, are doing. Do you see some of that? Do you see some of that with the Big Ten teams, certainly in the Midwest, like a different approach?
Yeah, I don't know if the approach has changed as much as the money has changed the way people approach things. The Big Ten, the SEC, they're banking big on profit sharing, and there's deals being done right now that that profit sharing doesn't technically, get voted on or go through until I believe April. So I'm really interested to see how that all plays out. Now, there's many ways to get players paid, name, image, and likeness in the true form of brand deals and charities and those sort of things. But the profit sharing is going to be a game changer, especially for these big TV contract conferences like the Big Ten, like the SEC. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out too, because I think you'll have a better chance at retaining your roster. So that will be a good thing. There can be some continuity because you're going to be able to pay up for the players that you really want to keep. But like I said, there's just so much unknown going into all of this. We're recruiting kids based off future rulings that might happen. You've got different transfer rules for some kids. If your coach gets fired, you can enter the portal. If your coach doesn't get fired, you can't even go on a visit, and you might have to sign on the 9th. So it's chaos. There's time to improve it. I feel for the kids who may be getting hurt by the process, but hopefully over time, it really, comes together. There's a cohesive understanding and really an order of operations that works with it all.
Just want to remind everybody, fans, participants, hit the raise your hand button on there, so we can see you and we can call you in and start asking questions if you're on there. But all right, so Clint, I know I'm going to keep asking you different questions. I don't expect you to know everything. I don't know everything. But so going down the line here, we got In the top 10, just outside is Florida with the SEC, but with Tennessee, LSU, A&M, then going our way up to the top, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, and now Texas. So the rich is getting richer here. Um, it's just mind blowing that they have all of this talent, and then they're gonna, back into, as we've been talking about with portal kids. Um, do you see? So in a way, there was so much parity uh, in the SEC, and then I think the portal played a big part of that. You looked at what Vanderbilt did this year; they were competitive. I think you have some love and affiliations there with that staff. But so I mean, kudos to them. But we're kind of almost getting into that NFL model where. Uh, any given Saturday instead of any given Sunday in the SEC. Who knows what's going to happen? What do you see for the future of the SEC, given what you've seen this year, where you have Bama with 3 losses, which is unusual for us?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, coaching change, totally different roster. People get it. Anytime you follow a legend, you usually want to be the guy not right after the legend. You want to be the guy after that. Kalen DeBoer is as good of a coach as you're going to find in the nation. His winning percentage shows it. There's going to be hiccups along the way. You talk about the rich getting richer, but at the same time, I mean, Alabama's been signing 5 stars for years. It used to be, you'd say it's home of the 5-star transfer. They're bringing in talent year in and year out. I do think that there's been some parity with the transfer portal. I think there's been some parity with the NIL. I mean, you're looking at UNLV, you're looking at SMU, schools that are right in the mix of the playoff picture, teams that might get buys. SMU could get a buy, and so who would have thought that going into the season? First year in the ACC. So I do think over time, it could level the playing field. I think that the amount of teams that are going to be competitive in that playing field might shrink, but the overall parity within those top teams and those top conferences, I think, will continue to grow. And you've seen schools pop up at seemingly out of nowhere. Missouri being very competitive after struggling for a few years. And I think, the portal and NIL has a lot to do with that. At the end of the day, as a recruit, I still think you're looking for happiness. You're looking for a home. You're looking for a path to playing time. But at the same time, there's a path somewhere else if it doesn't work out at the place you're at. So once again, it's a circular argument. You don't know what leads to what. But it's hard to say you love the direction everything's going, but I think it also gets overblown. Not every kid is $1 million kid. Those are far and few in between. Those are SEC starting quarterbacks. They're $1 million kids. A lot of guys are making less than they're bringing into the school. And that's just a fact of the matter. A lot of schools aren't trying to pay right out of high school. They want you to earn that spot and work your way in. Some guys are willing to do that. Some guys aren't willing to do that. I think it's going to be more important than ever to evaluate your own roster, kind of that NFL model where you're evaluating your own guys. Who do we want? Who do we not want? Who might leave? Who do we want from another team that we played against? And so I think the GM role is going to become more and more important. I think really getting a good quarterback. I know you want to back the Brinks truck up for the offensive line. You got to get 5 of those guys and you got to keep them healthy. If you got a dude at quarterback, as long as he's not getting hit too much, and he gets the ball out and can move around a little bit, I always say if you have 2 very similar teams and, you're looking at spread betting and stuff like that, go with the team that has the proven quarterback every single time. It's not a perfect strategy, but winners behind center who can lead a team through adversity, through the swings of the pendulum throughout the game. The guy who's going to come through in the clutch. Those are the teams that are going to win in these close games. And I know we're going to talk about Arkansas, but I texted you this morning. I didn't know much about Grayson Wilson. I go and watch that film, and I love the kid. Now, I haven't seen him in person. I know you can talk to 10 different quarterback coaches who've worked a kid out in person and get 10 different opinions on their talent. So this is strictly a film eval, but just watching his film last night, watching again this morning, gets the ball out. And like I said, great QB play is more important than ever. I really
Yeah.
like the guy who can make every level of throw. And, is he the guy under center that can help Arkansas make a consistent run? I know, the O line is very important, especially at a place like Arkansas with a storied, smash mouth history and everything like that. But, it's a new game and it's a new day. And I think there's ways that you can protect the quarterback and do things schematically to stress a defense where offensive line, yes, very important. And if you're dominant in the trenches, you are going to win. But it's harder to put together both an offensive and defensive dominant line in today's day and age than it is to maybe, get the right quarterback in place.
Yeah, you mentioned something. It made me think of fantasy sports, and so I got to share something here. I know you like fantasy sports. I'm just becoming more and more aware of Prize Picks. Let me share this with you. So, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less at least two players for a shot to win up to 200 times your cash. You run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, and it gets better. So you make your holiday picks bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while you're watching your favorite teams. So it's perfect. You make your picks, you get to watch your teams. So Prize Picks puts their members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And so I know for me, when my picks hit, which is a lot, right? We all know that. But I can get my money as quick as 15 minutes. If you sign up today, you'll get $50 off of a $5 sign up. So you don't have to win either. So you just play $5 and you get 50, so you can keep going. That's guaranteed. So Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. So you want to know which players are going off, which ones aren't. You want to make your picks. And then turn your sports opinions into real money all season long with Prize Picks. This week for me, I'm looking for Travis Kelce to go for more than 70 receiving against the Rams, and I want Joe Burrow. This is me. I want Joe Burrow to go for 250 or more against the Dallas Cowboys. So download the app today. Use the code SHOWUS to get $50 instantly after you play your $5 lineup. That's again, if you download the app today, use the code SHOWUS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 in the lineup. So yeah, Prize Picks, run your game. So got that out of the way. All right. So want to
Downloading right
remind,
now.
downloading right now. Just want to one more time for the fans that are out there, if you can hit your hand up button. And I'm getting messages from the Winston camp. So I think everything's getting excited over there. So checking that out. But yeah, so if you're joining us, there should be a fan participation button. You got to raise your hand on there. Click on that. We'll see you, and we'll be able to bring you in. So I think some people are having difficulties with that, but we'll try to get going on that. I know you were talking about Grayson Wilson had that big season, over 3,400 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, just 2 picks. Dual threat, also ran for 837 yards with 15 more scores with the Hogs. They have 2 big-time 4-star defenders coming in. We got that coming in, and Tavion Wallace and Kevin Otis. And I think Kevin Otis is the younger brother of Ole Miss Otis, who's just a beast in high school. I'm excited to see him when he gets up to Arkansas. There's some sleepers in this class. I know there was one, Clint, I think that you saw with the Arkansas class that stood out to you when you were looking them over. Who was that?
My man Trent Sellers. He wasn't my man until I started watching that film, learning more about him. Basketball player, 6'6", explosive, athletic, very raw, but so many physical gifts, extremely talented, so much to work with. You love what he flashes on film. I think he could be a major steal. I haven't done the deep dive that I like to do before I put the total stamp and go all in, but if you're talking about a kid who has as much upside physically and athletically as maybe any edge player, and that's saying a lot in this class. I mean, he's right there. That kid can run. He chases. Once he gets, his bend down, gets used to his body, his length, you got to remember when you're 17, 18 years old and you're 6'6", there's a lot going on. You're still getting used to that frame. You're learning how to bend. You're learning how to change direction. And, once he gets in a program and develops at the college level, especially a program like Arkansas, playing against top level competition, he's a guy that, could he make an impact right away? Yeah, because he can rush the passer. He might need a year or two in the weight room, but he's a guy that I see having a big time future. And obviously, there's a lot that goes into that. Everything's got to come together from so many angles, and not everything's always in your control. But as far as a guy with physical upside, athleticism, the prototype of what you are looking for when you're looking at, future NFL players, future high round draft picks, and that is a position that is very highly coveted and very highly paid in the NFL. Trent Sellers could be, I think he has star potential. He could be a major steal.
Awesome. So I think we may have somebody that's patched through, that's called in. There you go. Really well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you guys for doing this. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on KJ Lacey and his opportunity at Texas, like, how he might fit in with the team and how that dynamic might go.
I gotta say, I love your backdrop. It's Star Wars piano.
I got,
Man,
yeah, that's
I need.
my nerd shelf over there.
You're
Are you
rocking
Marshmallow?
yeah.
I wish I'd probably have a lot bigger house.
You got a good setup.
Yeah.
That's for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations. All
I
right,
am
so
in my
KJ Lacey.
editing area, so yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to have your inspiration sometimes when you look
Absolutely.
over your shoulder and get you going. Yeah, Clint, you can chime in on this. I've seen KJ quite a few times. I think the bigger thing, everybody is expecting Quinn to go pro, and you have a really big backup in Arch Manning. So it's really when Arch is going to be ready, to play his sophomore, junior year, and then for him to go. So I would expect, KJ knows this going in. We'll have a year or two to not only learn the playbook, pick up with the speed of the game, and get that time in the weight room. And he'll have a great, mentor in Arch, which he just grown up in that family probably knows, I don't know, a lot more than most college coaches about the game. I would just love to be, a fly on the wall in the Manning house when they're watching football, and all the X's and O's they could break down. But a lot of insight from the two uncles. But that's how I kind of see with KJ. What would happen is it's going to it'll be, a 2-year bring on. Certainly would want to get him ready just in case. You never know if Arch gets hurt. But certainly have him ready to play. But if I was KJ, I would expect, my sophomore year getting some serious snaps, redshirting my freshman year. What are your thoughts, Clint?
I mean, I love it. You've got a kid who's willing to go in and compete and know that, he's not likely to start right away. And when I look at NFL quarterbacks coming in, the guys who have the most success are the guys that can come in and aren't forced to play right away. It's a very heady position. He's got the physical talent. These guys have the physical talent. We know that. It's, are you ready to play? And are you thrown in the mix too early? And you look at the approach that Manning's taken, and I'm sure that's a recruiting pitch when he's talking to Lacey. It's, I've gotten time to develop. I've gotten opportunities to play when needed. And that is what Lacey's going to get. He's going to get some developmental time, under one of the best, quarterback developing head coaches, under one of the best family of football quarterbacks. I mean, if you're part of that Manning passing tree, you get some insight that other guys don't get. And if I'm a kid and I'm looking for a great opportunity, not for right now, but for a couple of years down the road, a championship, looking at a roster that's stacked with receivers, offensive linemen, strong across the board, you're not in a situation. And you're also getting upset when you're not playing right away. Where a lot of these quarterbacks, if they're not getting the shot right away, they're looking for the next best deal, the next place to get on the field. Because as a quarterback, you're always thinking you're the man. He might think he's better than Arch Manning right now, and it's perfectly fine. That's a quarterback that I want to have him. But the fact that the fact that he knows that he's going to learn under some of the greatest, it shows me that he not only does he love football, he wants to be a great football player. So the physical talent's there. He's going to get the growth. He's going to get the development. Who knows? Maybe he gets thrown in the mix early. Gets a taste here and there, like we've seen with Arch. But I think he's walking into a great situation. I think it says a lot about him as a football player. Where his head's important to him in the long run. And I think winning championships is probably one. Learning from some of the best is another. And knowing that he's going to earn his time on that field, and that's the way Adam wants it. And the best ones, although they right away. I mean, you look at all of these guys. The ones who weren't thrown in the are the ones who typically have the staying power, are not just a flash in the pan.
It's almost like the happy balance between being a little bit cocky and humble at the same time, and just kind of, keeping that balance so that you're, 100%.
100%. You've got to have the swag. You've got to have the chip on your shoulder, but also to have the wherewithal, the understanding that nothing's going to be handed to you. I'm going to come in, I'm going to work, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to try to beat out Arch. I'm going to try to be the guy, but I'm not going to be the guy, because I'm coming to develop. And I think that's a special trait right there. Quarterbacks are built differently. The successful ones are built differently. You've got to have that headspace up there. He's going there to learn. He's going there to develop, and he's got a very bright future.
All right, super quick before I get the cane. Since that we're going to be watching Winston's announcement, where do you each think he's going?
What's your?
I have an idea. I got to be quiet though. I have an idea, but I think it's going to be. I think it's a good fit. I'll leave it at that. Real quick,
Boldly.
before you answer.
I'm not going to ruin anybody's day.
Yeah. Real quick, back to Texas with KJ. I know you want to switch topic. He's got 3 fantastic receivers. If everybody stays together, everybody's healthy, no transfer portal stuff. Lockett, McClellan, and Jamie French. Just a fantastic trio of guys to work with and get that symmetry with. So when he has his moment to shine, he's been working with them for years. I think all 3 of those guys are going to be big time for Texas. They're going to be standouts in the SEC. So really excited about that. But with Winston, we'll find out here in a couple minutes. We'll find out in a couple minutes. So.
We're almost there. Well, listen, guys, thank you guys so much for your time, and excited to see where this all ends up.
Thanks thank
you. Thanks for coming on, and I absolutely love your studio setup. It's a lot better than my hotel setup.
I'm looking back there too. Yeah, I'm looking at the stormtroopers and everything.
Awesome. You get the hotel pass.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
So we went over KJ, a little bit about the Big 12. We talked about them. Going with that, they have an in-state guy coming in at quarterback that I think is going to be pretty good for them, Alex Mansky. You can't really argue with Campbell with what he did with Brock Purdy and the success that Brock's having for the 49ers. I know with Iowa State, again, I mentioned it earlier, the Big 12 seems to be, among the groups that's only taken about, 15 guys and going to go to the portal. It'll be interesting to see that plan of attack and where all they're getting their guys from coming up. But Big 12 stuff is going to be interesting, and how that group, because we focus so much. Was hoping to get Bill Sills with us, but focus so much SEC, Big 10, that how the Big 12. It'll be interesting to see them in the college football playoff. We haven't really talked that much about that, Clint, because it's not really recruiting-esque, but I think it does have. It does play a factor, right? These kids want to play for something. Yeah, the NIL is there, but at the end of the day, you want to win. So we have Clemson and SMU in the ACC. and then we have Iowa State, Arizona State in the Big 12. Uh, for you, your thoughts, you've talked to a lot of kids. If Iowa State is recruiting you, or Arizona State is recruiting you, or another Big 12 program, how does that how do you think that'll affect these kids with their decisions?
Well, I think there's a lot of layers to this right here, because there's some of the things that we've touched on, and I have pretty good insight into I did scouting for the Iowa State program for a long time when I was working with National Preps. Now with Pro Path Management and managing athletes, Iowa State, there's a little glimmer in their eyes when they hear Iowa State. And one thing Iowa State has going for it at the perfect time is they have been a developmental program, and they've done a really good job of retaining their players. And that is going to continue to be like one of, from a pretty good source, their biggest thing is going to be roster management, because people are coming to pick off those players. And I know they tried to pick off the quarterback last year. They were able to retain them. I'm confident that they'll do that again. Now they do lose the two big time receivers, but they'll probably have to go to the portal there, but they brought in some good, young, talented receivers too. And when you look at what they're doing, it's size, length, and upside's the theme. The receivers that they're bringing in are big body, long kids. The offensive linemen, big kids. Dylan Malone, the running back. Smooth runner. He really, or not the runner. The receiver from Illinois. He was committed to Northern Illinois, I believe, at one point. But just a smooth runner, got all of the length. He'll need to fill out a little, but he really came on over the past year. I like the running back that they're bringing in. They're bringing in guys that they can continue to develop, because they've done such a good job developing the talent and picking the right players over the coming years, before all this stuff came into play, that now they're in a position where they're going to be doing their best to retain their roster and still able to recruit guys and develop them, and then get plug and play players at positions like, I'd imagine, with Noel leaving. And they have two top 25 production wise receivers that are likely gone at the end of the year. So I'd imagine that's a place. And they've got the young bodies who are really younger versions of the guys standing out for them right now. But, the big thing there, having the offensive line, having that quarterback, keeping him in, that guy can spin it. He is a heck of a quarterback. And then I look at the young offensive linemen. I believe there's that kid is he from Idaho? He's like 6'8". He's just a monster. You never know what you're getting when, you recruit some of the more under-recruited states. There might be a learning curve there, but he's got the physical tools. Now, I don't want to butcher this name. I don't know if it's cool, but it's a cool name. And I've been absolutely hammered for butchering names before. But young offensive lineman, he is raw, but this is exactly what you want your young offensive lineman to look like. Heck of a player, even at the raw stage of his development. He's extremely athletic, still growing into his body. I think he's athletic with incredible upside. And when you have that base and you're able to retain your roster and then dabble in the portal, not major in it, dabble in it, to me, that is the path to success. Now, do you get to keep a coach like Matt Campbell after he wins 10 games at Iowa State? And does he get this thing rolling where it's a year after year thing? So that's what I'm really interested to see. But I love what they've done there. I think their class is, maybe numbers wise hurts them rating. But I think they've got some sleepers. I really do. And I think they got some guys that you might not hear their names right away, but guys that are going to be able to make an impact down the road.
Yeah, cool is definitely on the all-name team. All right, so I have to run down to get Winston, get it ready for this commitment. I'm going to leave you for a second, Clint, and next time you see me, I'll be sitting with big-time star. All right, guys, so I'll be right back, and be good.
Well, you're stuck with me now. If anybody wants to come on and have a conversation, I'm more than happy to talk, answer any questions that I can. I don't have all the answers, but I'm excited to see where Winston goes. Been watching him since, did he come to when I was with Rivals, he came to our 5-star challenge I don't know. I think he was a freshman, and he's on the smaller side. He's never going to be that big 6'3", 6'4" receiver, but he was absolutely dominant and plays with a chip on his shoulder. Every route that he runs, he knows in his head he is going to win. And he's just such a dynamic player with the ball in his hands, with the ball in the air. But whoever lands him today is getting a special player that can be a difference maker. And I guess we're about to find out who that is. I mean, you look at the production right there. 78 catches, 1,011 yards, 17 TDs. That's a lot of balls at the high school level. He was at IMG when I first met him. Knew he was going to be special there. Looks like he did First Baptist and IMG in 23, and then obviously this year he is a Navy All-American Bowl selection, Polynesian game selection. Polyball's pretty cool, so he'll be out in Hawaii. In that game, I'd imagine, depending on where he chooses to go. But this is a 5-star talent, just dynamic player. You think about the way the game has changed and the way that you're trying to stress teams, stress defenses, horizontally and vertically. He can do both. He can take the ball underneath and take it to the house. Just dynamic with the ball in his hands. He, for not being, that 6'5" outside receiver, he's a guy that you can line up in the slot, but you can line up outside, run switch routes with him, different ways for him to take the top off, whether it be run after the catch or really just going for the deep ball. He's, he's great at 50 balls. Special player. So I'm excited to see how this all plays out. And it should be any minute here. I don't know how long taken, Ryan, but it sounded like it was. I know they had a DJ there and everything. I'm sure there's a crowd, and I don't think Winston would want it any other way. He loves the spotlight, and he backs down to nothing. I will never forget the first camp that we had him in as a freshman. He was just jumping to the front of the line over and over. He wanted rep after rep after rep, calling out the older guys, calling out the 5-star guys. He did not care. And, he's continued to develop, and that's the type of player he is.
Okay, so I'm in the mix with everybody here. Winston's in front of me talking to a couple of guys, so we'll get him over here in a second. So really excited for this. So good group of people here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see the backdrop here. Some cool pictures of Winston, Venice High School. We have the hats out in front of us. We have a table full of lanyards from everywhere, from Clemson, Colorado, Ole Miss, Ohio State, a couple from Ohio State, Indiana, wristbands from Ole Miss. What do we got here? Relentless, Indiana, all sorts of really cool stuff that picked up over time with all these visits that he's taken. So excited to get him over here. He's walking around. I'm saying hi to a couple of people. So I could hear a little bit about what you talked about, Clint. Couldn't hear everything, but probably say the same things already said. I've been around him since his freshman year. I've been around Winston. I was actually at the U camp when he committed with A&M, which was really cool. So I've been through this with him. One of the things that impressed me early on was his ability to run routes. Seeing him at camp situations as well, like some at Miami's camp, he was just breaking off receivers. He's fine with running the 5-yard out and making you look stupid while everybody's trying the bomb or whatever. He's interested in moving the ball down the field and getting things done. And I think he's that you can just whatever it takes, move the he's going to do. In the past, he's added some weight. He's played at IMG against, elite competition every day in practice. Now high school, they are still on their way to a state championship. They're in the semifinals. They'll be playing to go into the final rounds. Uh, After this, he has to go to practice. So, so it's real interesting to see Winston where he's at and what's going to end up happening here. But fantastic. Basically, the kind of guy that can punch his ticket to go anywhere he wants in the country. So I'm excited to see what he ends up doing. So we got Winston's dad's here. You excited? You're walking this senior right here.
Really excited.
Yeah. So it was just running it down. What are your feelings on right here? I know you said you're excited. Has the process been difficult?
Yeah, it's different. A lot of long years of trying to study where you're going to go, and over the years, a lot of things have changed in college. So I think we came with the right. I know we came with the right choice.
Awesome, very cool. We'll have to cut the details. So, but So when you guys came down to it, as a parent, what were some of the things that were important to you?
First, that secondly, offense that fits him best. They got different ways, always that use them in different ways. And some of them might the school picking up. Talking about special team punt return and kick out return and maybe a little defense.
Oh wow! He's gonna be. You heard it here first. He's gonna be doing everything. All right. Well, cool. So if we Winston, we're ready to go. We're live, so we can get it going. So yeah.
He can stand up or something.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I mean, it's the thing. We'll roll with it. Live TV. Yeah, we'll. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask him a few questions first. Gotta get him over here. All right. Sorry, guys. I think we'll get the mic cut. We're getting a few questions, and then we'll get down to it. It looks like he's gonna go in front of it, and he's on his way over here right now. So we'll get some questions with him, and we'll go from there. So he's doing one quick little in the take picture. So we'll get him over. So here we go. We got the man. All right.
I'm talking about him. Yeah, I'm
Sorry. Come on.
We'll do a few questions with you real quick. So everybody, this is Winston Watkins, end of the hour.
Wait, I'm gonna be able to hear them.
Yeah, they'll be able to hear me off this. Well, it's just you and I. I'm just going to ask you some questions. So, since your freshman year, I was just talking about myself to you. You've been breaking ankles and rolling for a long time. At this point, looking back, all that you've done, you played at a high level with IMG, playing at a high level with us this year. What are your thoughts on the field that you've gone through? So,
Sure, I would just really say preparation. I've been prepping for these moments. Ever since I was little, I've always been working hard. I didn't mix with everything at the field, grinding, just preparing my game and just, you know what I'm saying, bettering my craft. Ever since I was a little kid, I always looked at my cousins, Winston Watkins, just great before me play, and they really inspired me to want to do something great in my life. So I took the idea of work hard and be at something, and I took it all the way through. And I chose the football route, so I'm taking it all the way through. Even though soccer is my favorite sport.
Well, you definitely you've done the fan. I've been bragging on you about you breaking ankles and getting after it. One of the things that really stood out to me early on was at a Miami camp, and everybody's trying to go long, and you're breaking jokers off on 5-yard outs and stuff like that. Really impressed me with your out running. For those that may not be familiar with you, how would you describe your style of receiving?
If I had a comparison, it would be like Antonio Brown, to where like I'm real strong and know that I'm strong when I need to be and play like a big receiver, and then also I can have run at the catch to where I can catch the short routes, make plays, and make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And I got good enough route skills to be able to break people off and what I got to press, then shoot, run foot step with me. I don't think nobody can run step with me if they press. If they play all, you know. So it's like there really is no weakness. I feel like to me, people can say my height, but you know, I feel like it's an advantage.
You've added, you're wearing a baggy shirt, so it doesn't show it, but you've added some bulk to you.
Yes.
So you're the type of guy that could punch his ticket basically anywhere in the country that he wants to go.
Yes,
What has the recruiting process been like? Without you don't have to name names or anything like that, but just what has it been like for you overall?
It's been real hectic. I feel blessed to be able to get to this point now because I don't got to worry about talking to this coach or talking to this coach, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. In the beginning, it was definitely very, very crazy, and it was just like, wow, like all these opportunities and blessings are coming my way at such a young age, and it felt really good at the time. And then as it got over time, it just got over me, you know, like, no, I want to narrow it down. I want to chill. Now I want to commit. I'm chill. Now I want to decommit. I feel like opening back up to where it's like, nah, I want to commit again. Like, it was just an up and down roller coaster. So it's really a blessing to get to this point where I don't got to worry about nothing no more. Just sign up that line.
So I just saw that necklace, by the way. I like it. Wait, I'm blinking. All right. Let's go over the schools that you were narrowing down to without, again, giving it away. But what were some of the schools that you were considering some of your tops going into the couple weeks?
I would say out of all my top 8 schools, all of those were definitely considered and talked to all the way to because I wanted to make sure wherever I was going, it was going to call home is the best fit for me. So talking to Bama, of course, when Nick Saban was there, I had a really strong connection with him. And then when he left, I talked to the other coaches as well, but not as much as when Nick Saban was there. And then with South Carolina, South Carolina, I went on my OV. I loved it there. Great environment, great people. I like Coach a lot. He's a really smart guy. And I love football, so if you love football and I love football, it's a pretty good fit. So South Carolina was a really good place. Ole Miss, my visit there was great. I loved everything about it. I felt like the environment there was good. Coach Kiffin, he's a genius. He calls the plays up, he does his thing. With that situation, on the receiver coach, good guy. He knows what he's talking about. He knows game football pretty well. Say the new coaching staff came in from JMU. I like the coaching staff a lot. Coaching staff wins. See Coach Six and he wins. And then Coach Shannon as the OC and all that. He's a really good guy. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to get people open, So they're for sure against Ohio State, but it's like they're competing with Ohio State, and Indiana hasn't been great in the longest time. And then State, Coach Franklin and Coach Parker, the guy that offered me at the time. Great guy. People in the environment there. You see the culture of the school is very insane. The atmosphere is insane. Just, they win a lot. My old teammate, Kitron Allen, he was G when I was there, and he's a baller, and I know that they recruit ballers, and the rankings really don't matter for there. They know the right guys to get into shoot, That says a lot, I would say. And then Colorado, why Colorado? My guy Dion from Fort Myers. So from Fort Myers, my guy. I love the place that he's creating there. I love the environment getting created there. I feel like it's a really big opportunity for anybody my age, like going through the recruitment process, because I feel like being a young guy, wanting to get matured from a coaching standpoint, Dion does that, because it's like when you're not mature, like for players, when you're not all the way there yet, Dion gives you that patience, gives you that, to get you there. So I feel like he's a really good coach, cool guy. He was one of the big recruits for Colorado when I was talking to them. My guy as well. He's really like a very hard worker, and I love working hard. So I feel like next year he's a good person off the field and on the field. And then overall, just keep improving like he did at Jackson State. He was losing in the beginning and started winning. Colorado, he was losing, he started winning. So as I would say for Kirby Smart, when he first, I really like Georgia a lot because everybody likes a team that's dominating,
Mm-hmm.
So when they dominate, you want to be where the domination is. So when I got the offer, it was a really big blessing. And so when they were George Pickens, I used to always watch it, and I used to love how he used to dominate blocking, and I'm a really good blocker. So I felt like blocking and making plays is both in my strong suit. So I felt like I could do a lot there as well. And then with Kirby Smart being a great coach overall, the defense is going to always be there, and they're going to be making stops, and we're going to be in big time games all the time in a second. So, yeah.
Well, cool. So this is your big moment. Everybody's here waiting. You have something planned. I'm excited to see it. If we can, when you're done, we'd like to get your thoughts on why you picked the school that you picked. Come back to us. But let's put over to Winston. Congratulations on the big moment, Winston Watkins. Let's get it going.
All right, so you starting now. So Shimmy come up. Y'all boys come up. Who all come?
She gonna say a prayer first.
All right.
This shit about to go on.
Dear Heavenly, you can hear me? Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Dear Heavenly Father, we come today. Before we ask for anything, we thank you for everything, God. Please forgive us of our sins so that you may hear our prayers and our petition. As we come today on behalf of Winston Watkins Jr., we would like to thank each and every individual that came out to support him, down from his sisters, brothers, all up to especially his mom and his dad. His mom looked under the big Winston. We ask, Lord, that you put a hedge of protection around them as they come to grow and to communicate with this young man today as he chooses his school of choice for college, his next level of education, God. He has so many offers placed before him right now, offers that many kids would love to have but don't have the opportunity. So we ask right now that you put a protection around him, put your hedge around him, give him favor, Lord, in the sides, Lord, with these coaches. We ask that you bless every teacher, Lord, every trainer, Lord, like the Ed Gant, Lord, who came along the way and helped him along. We also thank you for each coach, Lord, that took the time out just to say a special kind word for everyone that gave him a snack, Lord, a sandwich, Lord, a juice, a drink of water, everything. We're asking that you just allow him to understand how blessed he is to have that opportunity, Lord. Protect his health, his strength, his mindset, his skill set, Lord, as he prepared to go. Allow him to stay focused, Lord, not get off track. We're rebuking any weapon that the enemy has formed against him so that it shall not prosper, Lord. Man can go great, Lord, and come back to our community, Lord. Become on a level and show us that this is how you do it with the support of your life. And then when he come back, Lord, show the community what he has to offer so that he can recruit other teams and other kids just like himself, Lord. So as he make his decision today, Lord, we ask that the school of choice that he choose, Lord, will make him nurture, bring him up, and make him that star that he's worked so hard to be, Lord. And we just thank you in advance right now and bless each and every individual here. In Son Jesus' name, we give you all the end. Amen.
It's my turn. All right. For everybody out there coming out and supporting me and just being there for me for all the hard work I put in the journey in the classroom, out of the classroom, at home, or with friends and family. So I appreciate every single last one of y'all. And then all the kids that's in here, come up here and get back here. All the kids. Any kids that's here, come back here. Siblings, brothers, family. Why not Chris? Come on. Yanni don't want to come up? Don't cry. All right. Now that all the kids up here, especially for the kids, and that's the reason why I want to do it in Florida, where I'm from, is because I was just a kid just like them, wanted to get all these opportunities right here. And I just wanted a chance, just get a chance to be able to showcase my talents and be able to just show everybody that we got talent in Fort Myers, Florida. And I feel everybody should get showcased on that level, So that's why I wanted the kids to be able to see this and just be able to see the things that can happen when you work in and just stay out of the way and do what you're supposed to do. Do your homework and just work hard. That's all it takes, is just doing regular things and just making sure that you put your first foot forward and keep going and keep just with it. So I wanted to make sure they were behind me for this opportunity that I got. And then before I get into all the colleges, I just want to feel like everybody can understand that, like, regardless of what I went through, I wouldn't be able to be here without any. Because that's my inspiration, really. Then the strategist, I say for Alabama, I've been talking to Alabama in my recruitment. When Nick Saban was there, that's probably one of the biggest moments I ever had. Nick Saban offered me. Nick like started me. I sat down. I couldn't believe it. Like that opportunity was going to happen to me, and I was going to be able to play for him. And then after he ended up retiring and all that, I kept talking to them, but I started not talking to him as much. I felt like Nick Saban was my guy, and that's who I wanted to play for. So, that goes for Alabama. Penn State, I've been talking to Penn State since the beginning too. Coach Parker, Coach Franklin, all them, they have a really good culture there. I feel like it's a really good, stable program, and they win, they always win. They find a way to go out there and handle business. My fellow team, IMG, John Allen, he's a starting quarterback, and they recruit, they don't care about rankings, they get ballers in there. As for South Carolina, I went on my visit there. I loved it there. It was an amazing environment. All the coaching staff there. I love all the people that is around there. You don't even coach there. You can just feel there, just people. The players there were great. My host was great. I appreciate about South Carolina for the visit, and it was just a great place to be. As for Ole Miss was a great place. I went there. The environment was great. The program was great. Coach Kiffin, a guy, a genius at that football thing. And then Coach McDonald, the receiver coach, he knows his thing. He does his thing. He's a great coach. Like, he pushes you to be the best you could possibly be. Oh, the mic, yeah. But he's a great coach. You know what he's talking about. It's a great environment there. Like a family and a brotherhood there. As for Indiana, new coaches down here. And like Coach Six said, search him up, you win. He was winning that GMU, he winning that Indiana, so he doing his thing. And I appreciate Indiana and Coach Shannon, Coach Cincinnati, all of them. I appreciate every single last one of them for always hitting my phone and making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in the classroom, doing what I'm supposed to do on the field, working hard. They have an amazing program there, has a great game plan every single game in, game out. Georgia, Kirby Smart, probably one of the best I ever had. Talking to the head coach, I was very starstruck when I talked to him as well. Kirby Smart, I feel like next Alabama of this generation, they're dominating, they're doing their thing year in, year out. And at the end of the day, they're the SEC team. So, SEC, I feel like the best conference, the best competition is closest thing in the NFL. As for Colorado, everybody knows Deion Sanders from Fort Myers, Florida 239. So, my guy. I love Colorado no matter what, no matter any of the decisions I make, wherever I go, I still love Colorado because at the end of the day, it's like family. Myers, and he represents. And I really appreciate everything I did when I was there. My visit was there was great. The people there was amazing. The environment was great. It was beautiful. It was all beautiful. There are two certifications. It was great when I went there. You see a whole bunch of superstars, and if you want to be a grow and have opportunity, Colorado's a perfect place for that. So I really appreciate Deion for everything he do out there and what he do, and he gonna keep handling the business like he been doing. But now it's time to make the decision that everybody been waiting for. All right, I got some back here. Let me get out of here. For the next 24 years, I'll be attending. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Never mind.
Fight it.
Y'all should attend there too. All right, come on. Y'all should attend there too. Fire dance. Over here, real drum lead. Hey, hold this out.
Summer rough.
All right.
Okay.
It's still going on, but I'm trying to get a picture you guys can see here. We're all surrounding him. I don't know if you can hear me. Got the DJ playing the music back there. But they're all back there. Ole Miss, Rebels, SEC, Lane Kiffin, fantastic offense. Dart is a great quarterback. Blanking on the backup is Austin. I can't remember his name, but they got a great quarterback for the future that Ole Miss. Maybe Clint Hughes for the backup that they have. Lane Kiffin's going to have gunsling there. So, be great. I'm going to head back into another room where I was before so you guys can hear me. I'm going to listen to Clint's thoughts on picking Ole Miss.
Well, first off, home run for Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's offense, obviously. George McDonald, the receivers coach there, getting a big-time playmaker. Obviously, they've had Trey Harris there, one of the best in the country. But this is a game changer for him. This offense is a well-oiled machine. Schematically, they put all kinds of pressure on defenses. If you shut down one thing, they're opening up another thing. And we know that Coach Kiffin likes to score points. The one thing I really like about this is, we know how good of a player Winston is. We know he's a home run threat. We know he can take the ball short, long, deep, intermediate. He plays bigger than he is. And he's very polished for this stage of his career. But under the tutelage of George McDonald, who I know very well, good friend of mine, we coached together at Minnesota. He's been in the NFL. He played at Illinois. He played the position. He was a track guy. Not only a phenomenal coach, but a phenomenal person. I just think it's such a great fit. I think they will hit it off. I think Winston's got a chance, to play right away. He can make an impact right away. Obviously, there's some depth in that receiver room, and but all the pieces are in play for Winston to go in and make an impact. I'm sure they'll work him along as he gets used to the college program and working his way in. But a lot of people talk about Coach Kiffin's offense, but the pass game coordinator George McDonald, who will be coaching Winston, is one of the best in the business, one of the best in the game, one of the best recruiters as well. And I just think I can't say enough about the fit, the potential impact, and enough about Winston as a player. I mean, he is a big hitter. He likes to compare himself to Antonio Brown. He might be a little faster than Antonio, but he's just so dynamic with the ball in his hands. And they're talking offense, defense, returning. I don't know what they're all going to have him doing, but he's capable of doing it all. And what a big win for Ole Miss on the recruiting trail.
Talking about it for a while now. The rich, I keep saying it, but the rich definitely got richer there. They don't have the divisions, but the old SEC West just loaded with talent. The traditional A&M, Ole Miss, guys like that. And we've been talking about Alabama and Auburn going up against what would be the traditional SEC East, Georgia and Florida and all that. Just so much talent brought in the 2025 class amongst these programs. We were talking about the parity earlier and what to expect. It is just one, heavyweight talent after another that's coming in is going to be a slugfest in the SEC, as always, as it has been since the early 90s. There's no slowing down this year with it. But I think Winston's like perfect for that offense with Lane Kiffin. I mean, who knows what he could do? You just said he's an instant impact player, has that potential. I agree with you. He's somebody that they can move around the field and create different mismatches, try to get him maybe in the slot, get a nickel on him, stuff like that. He has that speed. I've been bragging about his route running, short routes. He's not afraid to go across the middle either. So I think that there's some stuff that they can do with him instead of just trying to get him to be that vertical threat guy. And he can be that not necessarily a check down guy, but he can be a check down on different plays. But then turn that check down into an explosive play where he can score from anywhere on the field. Winston, I think, is a perfect fit for that offense, and really excited to see what Lane Kiffin and them will do with him. So, all right, man, what a day. Huh? I don't even know what's happened on
What
the
a
recruiting
day.
trail since we've been here. What a day. I think when we started, there was a different number one team overall in the recruiting rankings. And right when we went to air, that changed. So I'll be excited to find out where everything sits when the dust settles and I can get back to the office. But just so much more happening today and going on, all the excitement. Man, will Texas stay on top? Will Georgia come up with a big get last minute? I don't know. This is why my blood gets excited and I get pumped. It's like a game, like we're ready to go out on the field. I'm so excited for recruiting. I know you are as well, Clint. Any last words you want to put out there about the recruiting landscape or what we just witnessed with Winston Watkins going to Ole Miss?
We watched a great player go to a place that's a great fit. You talk about what they'll be able to do with him in the offense, move him around. One thing that Kiffin's offense does a great job of doing is getting guys the balls in space. They're going to take their shots, they're going to take their home runs, but they've got zone beaters. He knows how to sit in the zone. He's going to get the ball in space and he's going to do work with it afterwards. But the thing you love about him is, you think of kind of the guys who find the hole in the defense as being your possession types. He's more than that. He's a human highlight when it comes to beating man coverage. Having seen him since in person from a very young age, his ability, an uncanny ability to get defensive backs to flip their hips when they don't need to and then snap off routes is one of my favorite things about him. We talked about the chip he plays with on his shoulder. He knows every time he's going on a route that if the ball's coming his way, it's his ball. He plays bigger than he is. There's just so much upside, especially in that offense, especially with who he's going to be coached by and George McDonald, especially with Kiffin. It seems like a match made in heaven, and you don't like to, put too high of standards on these guys. They've got enough on their plate already. But, I think this is a big day for Ole Miss and a big day for Winston Watkins and his family as well. So congratulations to all.
Excellent. Well, Clint, it's been great hanging out with you today. I'm sure we're going to talk privately a little bit more about how the day ended up with the college football rankings because we're nerds like that. But it's exciting stuff. But man, I enjoyed spending the last hour plus with you. It's been fun just talking about what we would talk about normally. So, but I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Appreciate Prize Picks for having their fantasy sports and letting us be a part of everything with them. So, but want to sign off. Thank you, everybody. And maybe Clint and I will be catching up with you guys again here soon. Who knows?
Yeah, until next time.
Until next time. Take care, everybody.